This time, had to restart. Hold on a second. I gotta find myself on YouTube's. Nope, it says the video has been deleted by the uploader. Do we have audio? Everybody in the chat, can you hear me? Let's see. I cannot see myself on the YouTubes. Is it working? It says yes. Okay, so we're back. Let me just check it myself, just in case. I trust you, but let me just see. Okay, we got audio. All right, so what I was saying before I was so crudely interrupted by the lack of audio. First of all, hello. This is a Friday night live stream where I usually do now bird points. I am going to do a bird point, or maybe two, but I'm going to tackle something else first. I'm going to tackle a problem that I think is what most people consider the hardest part in all of Flintknapping. And no, it's not finning, and no, it's not getting me to tell you what kind of rock it is. No, that's not it. Although that's really hard to do, yes. The hardest thing is coming up. I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to wait till everybody gets here. Yeah, first, and then I'll get into it. I think you guys already know, but I am going to devote some time to it by napping these. I got a bunch of examples that have one thing in common. Okay, they got one thing in common. You might be able to figure it out. I think this is what people think is going to be the hardest thing in all of Flintknapping. Because I get a lot of questions on it, but I didn't think it was all that bad. Okay, I did not think it was all that bad until I started doing some of my own research today. Yeah, I do research and I go down these rabbit holes. And I came out of the rabbit hole with a whole new perspective. I might revise what I think the hardest part of all of Flintknapping is. Okay, so let's see. And I'll get to know who actually watches the live stream. I'm going to ask a question. Do you know what I think now is the hardest part of all of Flintknapping? Or what I think you think is? And if you don't know the answer, you're not paying attention. All right, Jim Bain is the first one. How's it going, Jim? Lance McElwain says he's back. Jorge is here. Jorge Valadez. Dockenstein is here. Hey, Bill. Blades and Points by SGP is here again. That's Sal. Go check out the channel by Sal. He does a lot of stuff. He's uploading consistently. Chris Cox is here. Aaron Estes is here. Yo. Alan Young, hello. Jeff Baird, hey, he's working. The Primitive Gentleman is here. Howdy. Dockenstein says yes. Yeah. AM Outdoors, we're back. Great Fishing is here. Chris Cox says yes. I guess you're answering the question of whether we had audio or not. Graylin Landry is here. Feathered Frontiersman. Hey there. Alan Young, did I say hi already? I think so, yeah. Joshua Dean, Action Jackson. Indigenous Technology says, yes, sir, ski. All right. Let's see. Stoneface is here. I found out that Stoneface sometimes doesn't watch the beginning of videos. I was looking around and I noticed some people didn't realize that I was watching fireworks last Saturday. That's why I did not do a live stream, but I announced it on the Friday live stream. So now I know who didn't watch the Friday live stream a week ago. Now I know. Let's see. Alan Young. Yes, it's good. Steve Salzgiver says we have audio. Flake Scars is here. Hey, it's been a while, right? Your Laughter is here. Let's see, testing 1, 2. AM Outdoors says, let's see, what else? I'm hearing dual voices. Turn off one of your feeds. Let's see, Alan Young notching. Good guess, but that's not it. All these rocks have it in common. Let's see. Audio is fine and good. Mike Mason is here. Chris Cox says, okay, I left and came back. It's fine now. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, see, you made it mess up. Yeah, see, the primitive gentleman got it right. Well, I'm not going to say it yet. Yep. That dang turtleback, yeah. Clunkers is a good guess. Straw Hats is high. Keefers, hey. Keefers, keep an eye on it on the chat, if you would. You don't have to, but I'm saying I'm going to be keeping a close eye as well. Watching out for them trolls and Fruit Loops on Fridays especially. Hey, Ronald Carbino. Hey, long time no see. Joshua Dean is here. Tatman says biscuits. Yeah, biscuits is a good guess. Andrew Humphrey says, hey, let's see. Get your package today? No, I didn't, Sal. No packages came for me today at all. I was kind of upset. It was like like a day on the prairie with just wind blowing and tumbleweeds. Nothing going on in the mail. Jeremy says, hey, Patrick and everyone. Hey. We just had like a branch hit the shed or something. Let's see. Jeremy's here. Dina Novius says hi. Charles Rooker, I found you after the reboot. Awesome. Let's see here. Wreck the Jipper. They're all stoned. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to get into this. We have 59 people, so that's more than enough to ensure that we have the whole gang. All right, the whole gang's here almost. Let's get into this. I'm going to do speed napping, okay? So, the guys that guessed turtlebacks are correct, but the people that have trouble with it don't call it turtlebacks, because if they did know it was a turtleback, they would look up, how do you eliminate turtlebacks in Flintknapping? They would have typed it in and searched for it if they knew what it was called. So I have a feeling that they don't know what it's called. But that appears to be, among all other problems, the hardest part in all of Flintknapping, according to the people. All right, so I'm going to do some speed napping, but I'm going to also try to explain it. Yes, I will break down and try to explain it. And all those guys, all those people that don't like me talking are going to suffer. Yes, they are. But I'll try to go fast, okay? I don't have trouble with turtlebacks. Did I have to take a year off in order to get rid of turtlebacks? No, I didn't. I never had trouble with turtlebacks. I don't know why. They just don't do. They're just not something that I had to deal with too much. I don't know. Anyways, here we go. This is Texas Flint, which is it's a high grade flint. So we'll start with this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make one side flat. See, it's not only the turtleback that's the hardest part. It's when one side is flat. Okay, it's not just, yeah, turtleback is the issue. But the other issue that goes along with it is that one side is totally flat. It has to be totally flat. That's the kicker. That's where they have trouble. And they're trying to do this. I'll show you first what they try to do, and then I'll fix it. This is what they try to do. They try to run flakes. They see a ridge, right? So they do this. They know how to abrade, and they know how to pressure flake the edge and everything. They just can't get the turtleback off. But what they try to do is this. They try to run these ridges, and they go, oh, ruffles have ridges. Let's try to run the ridges. But look, it's not doing nothing. It's doing that, but the turtleback's not going. I understand the concept, but it's not doing it. I know how to run flakes and run ridges, but it just does that. What's up? It's just doing that. I don't get it. It's just, then they get this situation where they're just running the surface. Okay? Turtleback fun, yes. But let's not call it turtlebacks, okay? Thank you. Aaron, 9.99 super chat. Thank you, thank you. So let's just not call it turtlebacks and just call it humps like they call it. All right. So to get rid of the humps, my favorite strategy is start on the ends. Why is it my favorite? Because no one likes it, that's why. They say, no, I had to preserve the length. Don't start on the ends because then it loses length. No, please, anything but that. No, that's how you get rid of them. You're going to have to do it. I mean, that's my favorite strategy. Okay? I'll try to do it without that, but you'll see how much more difficult it is. All right, so what I do is I drop the edge. And yeah, you lose length. Okay? But it's better than to end up with a little walnut or a little almond. You're going to end up with a little almond if you try it from the sides. Okay? You'll get more material off if you start from the ends. That's number one. Number two, never use wood for any of your tools. If you're using indirect percussion, never use any wood. Never. Now, I know that some people sell wooden ishi sticks and wooden percussion sticks. And you might use a wooden mallet and say you've used it for 30 years and you're never going back to anything else. I'm not talking to you. Yeah. You're set in your ways. You're not going to do nothing. I'm talking to people that are new. Okay? All right. So, you drop the edge down first. At least a little bit. It has to be at least a little bit. It doesn't have to be too far. You try to conserve some length, yes. And then you use anything but wood for your tools. Anything. Anything harder than wood, and never any wood. If you want to get rid of these lumps. If you don't care about lumps, then can't continue using wood. Yes. All right. Some people say, well, my solution to this is just get another piece of rock. I don't even deal with this. Yeah, I'm keeping my wood and not even dealing with it. It's a problem. I don't get a problem. See, okay, so I'm not talking to you either. All right, so this is what we do. And this has to be at least 5/16. I recommend 3/8 inches or a 1/2 inch for this type of operation where you're removing the lumps or the turtlebacks, okay? Remember, you got to hit this so it causes a disturbance in the force. Hit it so that the relatives of all the relatives of this particular rock can feel the disturbance in the force back at the quarry. Are you understanding how hard you need to hit this? No? Big flakes require big hits. Now that was a big hit and it still didn't do anything. We might have to change our strategy a little bit, but we'll get into that later. All right, I got to hit this like everything is terrible and I'm mad at the world, okay? It requires huge hits. Now, that didn't do much either. So that means I have to drop the edge further and hit even harder. Okay, so I took a little flake off that way. And we might even need a bopper. So get the bopper out since this is not going to do it. Let's get the bopper and hit that hard, hard, hard. Like that. Okay? I hit it right on there. Now we're starting to make a dent. See that? Where else? Well, there's another spot that we can do. We can try to hit the front again. It's not convex. So let's make it convex. Let's make it more conducive to flaking because flakes like the convex surface. And if it isn't going to do it, then we just try it from the side or the rear again. Okay, so it looks like we're going to need a bopper for this one. And then we'll switch over to the rod, the indirect rod later. Okay, so let's try this right here. Hit it hard. Okay. That's a hard hit. And you're going to work up a sweat like I am already. All right, another hard hit into this area. Okay, where do we go from here? There's no good opportunities anymore, so we got to create another good opportunity. Okay, so I'm going to drop this edge down to hit into here. Why? I don't know, it just looks good. Now, I need to get the marker out, right? You understand where to hit? That's the target. This is the potential flake path. Okay? I think you guys understand that if you've been watching the last few live streams. We're going to do the bopper again. We're going to hit right there. Fast and hard. And we're going to cause disturbances. Natural disturbances. Yes, and there's going to be some seismic activities. And yes, I'm drilling that into your heads because it's necessary. Okay, I missed because of my lack of bopper skills. Let's try this again. Okay, with another one. I missed it. I hit too far this way. I was supposed to hit right there. Let's try this again with a more difficult one. Yeah, this is same material, same Texas flint. But let's try this again. I'm going to make this side flat. And we're going to try this again. It's important that one side is flat because that seems to be the issue. One of the main issues anyway. Okay? They start with a flat side and they don't know what to do. That's flat enough. They start with one side that's flat that they want to make the arrowhead from, but they can't get this. They can't get this mess off of there. Okay? So let's refine this a little bit. And I'll stop explaining so that you can actually see some success. It's hard to explain and do it successfully because there's a lot of risk. Because I'm hitting it really, really hard. The harder you hit, the less accuracy you have in many cases. Let me change this fan. I need the fan. It's too humid in here. Let me know if the audio messes up. Okay, I have to adjust the camera a little bit. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this surface a little bit flatter to illustrate my point a little bit better. So they want to use this side as their arrowhead side, okay? But they can't get rid of that. No matter what they do, can't get rid of it. So you have to use any other material besides wood for your flakers. Do not use wood for the handles, for the mallet. It's even better not to use wood for the handles of your pressure flakers. Use something harder like antler or high impact plastic or something else. Okay? Okay, we're going to try to preserve this for the arrowhead. Now, you have to drop the edges down noticeably from the center line. Center line is the base to tip line, the imaginary line from base to tip. Okay, so it's going to be this line here. Wherever the base and the tip are, when you connect those, that's the center line. Now, if your base is way up here, like if it's cockeyed or curved or something, you're going to have to make it straighter. This edge is already aligned with the imaginary line between base and tip. So that's the center line on both sides. That's the easiest way to describe a center line. If you got the tip way up here, bring it down. If you got tip way down here, bring it up, so that you have a center line that's reasonable. Okay? Second rule, right? First rule is drop it down. Drop your edges down below center line. Second rule is always hit it hard enough so that its relatives at the quarry can feel what's going on. This requires hard hits. So let me drop this down here. We're going to lose some length. Okay, so that's just the name of the game. And I'm not going to explain everything because I want to be able to do this successfully. It's going to be dropped down at least a little bit. I'm going to do this one first. Yeah. Why? I don't know. That seems to be the worst. Yeah, most people can do that. Let's see. Now I'm bending this. That's how hard I'm hitting. See how I bent it? I'm bending this. It's a 3/8 inch rod and I'm bending it. Now this is already way below center line right here. But I waited. I wanted to check this first and I wanted to check that first. So I ran two flakes. I ran this flake and I ran this flake. And yeah, I'm explaining it, but I'm only going to do it when I'm not napping. So the plan is now, since it didn't take off very much, I am going to hit right there. That's way below center line. It's reasonable, but this is the problem. If it's too far below center line, you can overshoot, which is a big problem. Okay, you don't want that. So we're not going to hit it all that hard on this one because it risks overshooting. Okay, so we can just whittle it down. Okay, and then we'll look around and see what else we can do. Okay, all right, next, let's see. How about this one that broke? See how this broke? I should just try to thin these down. Okay? All right, let's see. I'm not going to explain it so that I can be successful, right? It's hard for me to do this and explain it at the same time. Okay, so you might say that was easy because we had that big old edge that was just the right angle. Okay, you might say that was easy because it had that type of edge. All right. Well, this one's going to be harder because I'm going to try to preserve this for our arrowhead. I don't know if that's what I did on the other one, but we're going to try to preserve this side for the arrowhead because that's the flat side. That makes it more difficult, but it's fine. Center line is from the middle of the base to the middle of a tip, wherever you decide the tip and base is. I'm going to decide this is like where the base is going to be, and this is where the tip's going to be. So this is the center line. Center line goes all the way around, all the way around. Okay, we're going to preserve this top part for our arrowhead. Now this is a little bitty chunk. Some people, this is all they have to work with is these little bitty chunks that people throw away. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to preserve this for the arrowhead. Okay, so I'm hitting it very, very hard. Okay, so we preserved, except for that one flake I took there to drop the edge down, right? I think that's why I did that. We still preserve this side for our arrowhead. We can level it out. Okay. Now, I'm going to trim around it. We're still going to have some problems with thick areas. But you just got to continue doing the same strategy. Drop the edge down a little bit and hit really hard. And I can zigzag it as well to hit into the lumps. We're going to do all these down here. There's different scenarios. Okay, so we still got this, or at least this area, but we needed some convexity also. All right, so it's not just preserving the flat side. You need to have a little bit of convexity as well. So if you are preserving a flat side and it's perfectly flat without convexity, when you're done getting rid of the lump, you're going to have trouble running flakes into that. But that's another problem entirely. Right now we're just trying to get rid of lumps. Okay, so these are no longer lumpy. I mean, they're not thin, completely thin, but they don't have the lumps on them anymore. Now, we're going to go with some other material that's not as easy to knap. Okay, this is not as easy to knap. See that? We're going to preserve this side for our arrowhead. Okay? Yeah, lumpectomy, says Dawkinstein. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this like some knappers will do, right, to get one side that looks pretty good and say that's the side that they're going to go for as far as their arrowhead goes. They get to that point and then let's say, okay, now what do I do? Okay, that's where I want my arrowhead. Now what do I do? Okay, so I'll show you. You gotta have a strong, robust edge. Strong edge. You cannot hit hard and be successful unless you have a strong edge. Strong means it's not going to be sharp. You have to make it very dull, and if it still looks sharp, it's not strong enough for this operation anyway. To get rid of lumps, you need a very strong edge. It's not strong enough anywhere except maybe right here, because the angle, it's got to be like at least 60 degrees from center line. Well, maybe 45. Let's see. Center line is always from the middle of the base to the middle of the tip. So that's the middle of the base right there. The center line is right here. It goes that way. And from here, it cuts across, goes this way. So we know this edge is not below center line. Okay? We got to drop this below center line to get rid of this. We got to drop it this way. There's another lump here. Okay, so that means eventually we're going to drop the edge below center line there too to get rid of that one. I'm going to try to preserve this for our arrowhead. Okay, so what do we do first? Well, we probably should get rid of this lump first, since I didn't get rid of it entirely. A lot of guys will get rid of that first, make it flat for their arrowhead, and then they don't know what to do on the other side. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's just get rid of that lump first. Try the indirect percussion first. 3/8 inch diameter copper rod, plastic mallet. Use anything except wood. Okay, it's flat, right? That's what they end up with this, but they can't get anything done on the other side. Okay, so you got to decide where you're going to remove some material to lower that edge. I'm going to decide on this edge. This over here is not good. Now, when I said it's got to be at a good angle, I'll show you here in a minute. And I said at least 60 degrees, maybe 45. It depends on the rock. Sometimes you need a very steep angle like 60. Sometimes it can be 45, depending on the rock. Really tough rocks sometimes require even steeper than 60, maybe 70 or 80, not 90. Okay. So I gotta drop the edge down so that the center line from the tip to the base is above that. Right now, center line is from here to there. That's the center line tip to base. So it's going to be like right here. Okay, so we're starting to drop down below center line. Got to do a little bit more, I think. See, this angle is from the center line. You measure the angle. You measure it from the center up. It's got to be at least a 45 on removing of lumps. That's the only thing this pertains to. Don't think it pertains to everything else. Just removal of lumps has got to be at least a 45, probably 60, maybe even 80, depending on the toughness of the stone. The tougher it is, the higher it needs to be. Okay? Okay. This is not all that tough, but I need at least a 45 to be fairly successful, to increase our odds of being successful. Come on. And this is not only tough material, it's kind of weird right there. Is that a 45? It's almost. I think we're close enough. It's not quite a 45, but I'm getting impatient. It'll probably still work. Like right here, I'm gonna hit this edge there. That's close to 45 right here on this side. Right there. Just gotta make sure it's below center line, which it is not. That's right at center line. We're little bit, maybe a little bit below center line. So yeah, I can hit that. It's probably slightly below center line. I'm trying to look in the viewfinder here. Center line is like right. Yeah, so we are just slightly below center line on that. This one's pretty good here. That's our main striking point, and then we got other striking points we can use. Okay, so this whole thing is open for business anywhere along here. Platforms are not on the edge. That's just the edge. Platforms are down there where the flakes are. That's how you study flakes. Look at the platforms and stuff. This is called the edge. Okay? You can hit anywhere along the edge, depending on the size of flakes you want. Now this is a problem here, so we don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to hit into there and see what happens. So it did remove some of that. I don't think that crack goes very deep, so we're going to continue to hit the edge. Right where the angle is advantageous and below center line. And we have to hit this extremely hard. Okay? Just so you know, this is bending the copper rod. This stone is tougher than the other stones we were working on. This one is tougher than those. Those are high grade chert. This is not. This is low grade chert. Okay, so I bent that a lot. I bent this one earlier, so let's get the other one out so we can bend this one. So I don't have to straighten it on video. All right, so here we go. We're gonna hit this hard enough to bend it. Yeah, not hard enough yet. And we're just gonna try. That edge is it might crunch because it's not up at a 45 yet. But we're gonna try it anyway. And it did work. Yes, it did. Cool. It just didn't go very far. Yeah. All right, so see how we did that? Yes. Can you figure out what we're going to do next? another very hard hit. And you gotta hit small to lose small. So I just hit a small area, but made sure it was well ground, right? And it's right at center line. It should be center line or below for a nice lump removal. That doesn't pertain to other kinds of flakes necessarily, okay? This, we're talking about only lump removal. We're very specific in our goals for this particular technique. I don't want you to get it mixed up with other techniques. We need that angle to be very steep for these lump removals. Okay? They require lots of angle, lots of force. Okay, so we got the lumps. What else we got here? This one is probably a mid-grade chert. We're going to try to preserve this flat side for our arrowhead. All right, I don't see any cracks and stuff. Cracks will, if there's lots of cracks in it, this might be an issue, but if not, then we can proceed. If you can see automatically that there's cracks, you just toss these. But it looks like we might be able to do it. Okay, I'm preserving this side. All right, so we'll just say, that's like side A. We're just going to preserve it. Get rid of side B. Where is our center line? Well, we got to put we know where the tip is, right? This is going to probably be the tip up here, right here. Where's the base? Let's put the base a little bit lower, like right here. Center line is when you connect the dots. Connect the dots. That's how I determine center line. Connect the dots between base and tip. Now we can lower the base down to this spot, and this will now be our center line. We get to choose where we want our center line. But the lower we put this, the lower we got to drop the edge. Okay? That's the drawback. The lower the center line, the lower we got to drop the edge to be below center line. Okay? So we'll drop the edge. I mean, yeah, we're going to drop the base a little bit lower. Okay. We need hits like that. See, this is about a 45 from the center line. Everything's measured from the center line, this way and this way. So that's about a 45. That's why I hit that. We're slowly going to whittle it down, hopefully. If I want to hit it again, I got to drop it down a little further, because we're right at center line. If I stayed there, we would be right at center line, which is not that good. We can hit the sides and stuff if we want, but we don't want. Why? The sides are not, they don't work that good. We end up with little almonds when we work the sides only. Now this might be a bopper. It might be advantageous to do a bopper strike, if I can be accurate. If I miss, I can break the whole thing. All right, so my objective is to hit, there's two spots I can hit, one right there and right there. They're not that great, right, but it's good enough. Perfect would be if you ground it down to exactly a 45 to 60, 45 to 60 degrees. You can grind it on something, whatever, and get it perfect if you want. There's no problem with that. Not with me anyway. Okay, I hit it just right. Now let's see. Nope. Too much. I hit this just right, but it snapped because it had an internal defect. There was a crack in it. See that patina right there? This is the fresh stone break, and this is a existing crack. Otherwise, it probably would have run well. Okay, so we'll move on. Let's see, where's the trash? Let's try some obsidian. And you can find chunks like this in the debitage at Knapping's. Obsidian is a little bit easier. You just got to watch out. The snap and halfishness is worse, but the actual strikes are not as bad. There's not as much resistance, so you don't have to hit as hard. Okay, so drop the edges below center line. I can already imagine it in my mind where the center line is. It's from tip to base. Okay, so see where we're at? We're going to try to preserve this side. We do have a lump on this side, so I can probably try to get rid of that first, so we can have a nice flat area to demonstrate what I'm doing. The reason why I'm flattening it, if you missed the first part of the video, is because that seems to be the hardest part of all of Flintknapping according to a lot of people. Flat on one side and lumpy on the other. So I'm trying to get it flat on one side. As flat as possible, with maybe a little bit of convexity. Yes? Okay. So a little bit of convexity, but we got a big lump on the other side. And we don't want to lose too much length, okay? That's what makes it difficult, I think. But I don't know. See that angle right there? Measured against the center line, where that's 0. The center line is the middle of this edge and the middle of that edge. That's the center line. And the angle you measure from that. From this is 0. This is 0, then you measure up about 45 degrees. That's where you hit. Wherever there's a 45 or more, depending on the toughness of the stone. It's usually a minimum of 45. Sometimes it can be 30, especially on obsidian. That might be cooperative. So that's where I hit. Okay. Now let's see if there's any other spots opportunistic. How about that? Is that like yeah, that's pretty close to a 45 or anywhere along there. Is that below center line? Well, it depends on where we pick our base. We can actually put the base up here at this level, so we'll be right at center line from the tip there to the base. That's okay if we're at center line because it's obsidian. It'd be better to drop it lower, but you risk overshot. This is lower. This is below center line right there. I can hit that, and that's at a 45. Yeah, I can hit that. Let's try that. Yeah, it's too rounded, so let me take some off of that to make it a little less rounded. See how I took a little bit of a chunk out of that, so now I can find a better ledge. There's a better ledge now right there, so it can kind of grip that ledge. Yeah, like that. And we can hit this side. We can hit this side. Continue to take opportunistic strikes. One off the tip. People don't like those, but they're very effective. See that? Okay? Okay. Next, let's see. How about this one? People ask me to do these triangular ones like this. On this one, I'm going to lose a lot of length. Yeah, I don't want that on there. Now you notice that this angle is not it's not at a 45, it's much less, but this is a higher grade of stone, so it's more forgiving, in case you're wondering why I cheat. And it's also not very much below center line at all. We got a curve in it, but that's okay. You can adjust what you're doing a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm saying you, but you know, in general, it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as it's working. If it's not working, then yeah, I got to improve everything. Improve the edges. If I try to cheat and it's not working, I just improve the edges and it'll start working better. If it doesn't get messed up in the meantime. I'm always afraid it's going to go too far because I'm hitting it really, really hard. So you have to take risks. No, people's not supposed to message me right now. Let me know if the audio is still okay or if that fan is making a big mess of the audio. Jesse Garcia just showed up. Ross is here. Are you guys understanding what I'm doing here? We're trying to get rid of turtlebacks, but people call them lumps or mounds that are new. If they're new, a lot of times they don't know it's a turtleback, so they don't know what to search for on YouTube. But you can do a YouTube search for removing turtlebacks. I think I might have some videos on it, but I'm going to start focusing on it more. Because, yeah, I was doing research instead of doing my other stuff I'm supposed to do. Try to figure out what the problem is. What the main problem is with other guys. My main problem is thinning down a thin piece, but apparently that's not a main problem with other guys. Okay, so there it is. Sometimes they get to this point and they have this situation, so let me clear that off. There was some cracking or something going on in there. It might have an existing natural crack in it. I think it has a natural crack in it right there. It's probably the reason why I did not pursue that one earlier. I picked this out of my debitage. And let's see if I can get past that crack or no. It might go all the way down and through, so it's really not worth continuing on this one. But yeah, it just took like 3 or 4 strikes to get rid of that big lump. Throw that back in the trash. And then this one here, this one has a lump. Let's try to get rid of that. First I'll flatten this one side, and then we'll get rid of the turtleback. And then we can get to the bird points. I've got some Knife River flint. Coming up in the next hour, I got some Knife River flint. We're going to make a bird point out of it. I got 3 pieces, yeah, but that's just in case. Sometimes the Knife River is cracked, so that's why I brought 3 pieces. So I'm going to flatten this one. Now normally I don't do it this way, but other guys do it this way. And they get themselves into trouble. They have one flat side that they want to preserve, and they cannot get rid of the lump on the other side. They end up starting like this, and what they end up with is a little almond. If it doesn't snap in half or whatever. Okay, so they can get side A done. That doesn't seem to be a problem, but the side B is the problem. Okay. This is a not so easy to nap chert. It's Mississippi gravel. I made a point from it yesterday, or 2 points. These are also both Mississippi gravel, raw. Okay. This black stuff is modeling clay from the pretend hafting. So these edges, is there a 45 anywhere on there? Yeah, there's a lot of them. But it's right on the edge, which is fine as long as it's ground down well. as long as you get it ground down well, which this does grind down easily, you can easily get a 45. But it's going to be right on the edge, which is okay. But sometimes it doesn't work. If it's right on the edge, sometimes it'll crush and you just get crushing after crushing after crushing. That means you're going to have to lower the edge more and make that angle more pronounced or longer, instead of just a little short area along the edge that's at a 45. Make it more like this side here, where it's got a larger surface, and then hit higher up. If it's crushing, you need to hit a little bit higher up or grind it more, or both. This one should be okay. Now I'm looking at this, looking at the center line, and this is above center line, this is below, this is right at center line, this is below center line. We got to look at the convexity, make sure we got convexity. Sometimes we don't have convexity, which means we probably will have to not try to take a big flake. I'm going to take something off the tip also. Yeah, we lose length when we do that, but I think the tip is a better approach. But again, I got to make sure we got convexity, at least in the beginning. There's a slight dip there. It might not interfere too much. It might interfere, but we'll see. I'll take that chance. I can improve this edge a little bit. By dropping it down. See, if this one doesn't work, I can hit it from this side. So I got a good angle there. Remember, this is strategy for lumps. It doesn't carry over to other things necessarily, okay? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I hit that first. I don't know why. I was going to hit the tip first. Okay, so the tip we got thinned down a little bit. Let's see. And the rule for thinning down the ends applies. So if it's possible to do it, thin down the ends first. And that makes it less snap and halfish in the middle. You know what I mean? It makes it less likely to snap in half in the middle. Okay. And then we just creep up on the lumps and hit really, really hard when we get to the critical spots. All right, so that was a good angle. Hit really, really hard enough to bend it, although this didn't get bent too much. And that has to go past halfway. If it's not going past halfway, you're losing energy, so you need to either hit harder, use a different material for your tools, or both. So I'm hitting right on the edge where that 45-degree angle is. I'm not hitting up on the surface. Sometimes I hit on the surface, sometimes I don't. For removal of lumps, I have to make sure that it's like a 45 right there where I'm hitting. Okay, for the removal of lumps. Take it right there. See that? I'm gonna strike right there. It should be the last major hit. I'm gonna strike right there. And go into this area. Across there. You should probably meet up with that, and then we can come in from some other area to clean that out. Okay. slipped. Okay. I hit right on that area. Now over here, I got to improve the edge a little bit. Drop it down. By hitting flakes this way, it drops it down that way. Brush it this way, it drops it down this way. And grind it so it's nice and tough, so it doesn't crush when we hit it. Thin the end down first. Let's see if we can knock some more of that step fracture off. And then do one of our, there's two more final hit areas, maybe three. 1, 2, 3. Those 3 areas, they're probably right at or just below center line. This one is at center line, but I think it'll work. This one is just slightly below. See, the tip to the base is the center line. This one is below. This one's right at center line, or just slightly below. This one looks like it's right at center line. As long as they're not above center line, we're okay. On this particular tactic, on removing lumps. It doesn't have to be below center line for other strategies, okay? But removal of lumps, it is important. And then let's do some more from the other side, just to get that cleaned out, because it doesn't look good. So our potential areas for hitting, anywhere along here. That one's too low there. Anywhere along here, anywhere along here. That's too high right there. This is low, but I need to brush that a little bit more. These areas are a little bit too delicate. See that? They're just a little bit too delicate. I'm going to brush that way. We have to have good convexity and nothing too delicate. So I brush and grind in different directions, so I don't have to pressure flake all that stuff. So the surface has changed a little bit, so that's a good area to hit. That one is better now, it's not so weak. This one is okay, not too good. This one is the best. Okay, so you get that. You can hit there, 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 there. This one is still a little bit too high, so I don't hit anywhere on that. But that one is good. We'll just do this one first. See if you can run a, I'm gonna run a big flake and see if it'll fan out and catch a lot of that. High hopes, yes, I know. Let's see. Yeah. And little flakes now. Comparatively speaking, just little flakes are good enough. So I don't have to hit that hard. Okay, is that it? Okay, that's it for the demonstration. We can move on to our regularly scheduled programming. Okay, so this is the first stage, getting rid of lumps. Basically, is the first stage. Second stage is the preliminary thinning, which I already started the preliminary thinning on this. I started by, taking off secondary flakes from the lump removal. So this, I've already started the secondary, or I already started the primary thinning on this. And I started it on this one. Whatever looks kind of thin is when I already started doing the preliminary thinning. The other ones they're just still at the biface stage. Yeah, these are still at the biface stage. These have the first stage of thinning done. What's necessary is the second stage of thinning. This still needs the first stage of thinning, and then on to the second stage, etc., etc. Okay. I'm gonna check the chat. I thought I was going to do that quickly, but it still took an hour. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what we got. Regularly scheduled programming. We're going to do some Knife River and make a bird point. Hopefully in 1 hour. We'll go longer, I guess, if it's required. Melody says, do you use those crystals for psychic protection? Nope, I'm not a crystal person. Psychic protection. I just take vitamins. Yeah. Let's see. How'd the online auction go? It goes pretty well, actually. I'm surprised. Yeah. The hardest part for me is when people are bidding close to the last minute. It's hard for me to see. It takes time for me to see who actually won because I got to refresh constantly to see. I used YouTube's time tracker to keep track of everyone's time. Everyone's comment has a little time on it, how old it is. I have to use that because that's what everybody sees, or most everybody sees the same time. So yeah, that's the hardest part for me, other than the shipping, packaging the items so they don't break. Otherwise, it goes good. Yeah, Jim Cooper knows all the questions. TJ is here. Jesse Rush is here. Marty is here. You bet, Stoneface. That sounds like okay. Ralph Snyder, KRF Birdies, yes please. Yeah. Don't worry. If it works out, we're gonna see one. Can picture Jasper be napped? Yes, I think so. I think if you just type in picture Jasper Arrowhead on Facebook or maybe even on YouTube, you can find people that have napped it as a search. You might find videos on it or Facebook posts. So I think some of those guys will heat treat the Jasper, the picture Jasper. I don't know how hot it needs to go. All right, let's see here. Feathered Frontiersman Pat, I just tried and failed to spall an obsidian nodule for the first time after my hiatus. I had forgotten how long those preforms took me to make. Oh, I see. Jim Cooper, I just spalled up a bunch of picture Jasper. It needs heat, but it naps good. Okay, cool. That answers that question. Richard McMahon says, I didn't see the crystals. In the Mississippi gravel, there's crystals in this, and fossils. Right? I didn't see any in this one. Well, there might be some. But yeah, in the Mississippi gravel, there's voids, crystals, fossils, inconsistent areas. Bill says, I noticed something. You turn the stone up slightly to send longer flakes on thicker sides for thicker removal. Is that right? You turn the stone up slightly to send longer flakes on thicker sides for thicker removal. I don't know. If you noticed it and your eyes are working, then yes. But I don't remember. So just rewind the video over and over and over again until you're sure of what you're seeing. And if that's what I'm doing, then yes, that's what I'm doing. James, can you snapper a cross out of stone? Yes, I can do crosses out of stone. I've got one as a back order too. When am I going to get to it? I guess as soon as I can. As soon as I can. Richard says, I have a lot to learn. Heat treat sounds interesting. Oh, yes. It's very interesting. Bill says, yeah, only one time, but it was removing thicker stuff. Yeah, just watch. If you have a question on what I'm doing and if I can't remember, just watch that over and over and over again until you are absolutely sure what you're seeing. Clam Champ says, what's the worst thing you saw in prison? You mean the prison I've never been to? Because I didn't see nothing. Am I gonna have to put people in timeout? I don't see any. Am I missing something here? If I see someone that I need to put in timeout, my mood's gonna get a whole lot better. Yeah. Yeah, Clam Champ. Who is it? Is that a Randall? Let's see. He's just got playlists, no posts and no face. Yeah. Typical Randall. What else we got here? Throcessive is here. Haven't seen you in a while. Found a tiny white quartz point on the backyard the other day in Canton, Georgia. In your backyard? That's awesome. James Meyer says, cool, you do good work. Thank you, thank you. All right, so are we ready for our regularly scheduled programming? Jesse Rush is here. Long time no see. I got a live stream every night. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to do the speed napping to get through this stuff so I can have that little preform for the bird points, okay? This is what we call Knife River Flint, or KRF for short. KRF. Raw. It can be heat treated, but this is not. Okay, KRF. Knife River Flint from North Dakota. There's stones in Texas that look like this, but it's not this. Okay? Okay, I'm down in the words. We need to be able to see. And hopefully I wasn't too much down in the words for the previous demonstration. This one has a curve in it, so it's going to get shorter. Okay, I can't preserve the length on a curved spall, so I have to make it shorter if I want to straighten it out. If I don't want to straighten it out, I just leave it curved, and it stays longer. If the goal is just a long point for whatever reason, then I don't take the curve out. Let's see. Turn the fan a little bit. It is very humid tonight. And it's still like, it's 82 degrees in here. Better than 102 like it was earlier. Yeah, it does get hot in the shop in Vermont. Outside it was only like 86, I guess. Yeah. We've been having some good weather lately. It hasn't been this hot until today, and yesterday was getting up there too. It does affect the knapping when it's too hot. I mentioned that. That's why I mentioned that. But it's okay. As long as that fan is on me without messing up the audio, we're okay. Let's see. Sometimes it might look like it's I'm doing this randomly. It looks like it's just a random grinding, but there's a method to this. Maybe someday I'll explain it in detail if I've got more time. I don't think you guys have trouble with grinding or braiding, or do you? Don't need no separate lessons on a braiding. Maybe yes, maybe no. Yeah, Moana Mason, they're in the middle of winter over there. Down under. Some people really like knapping this knife river flint. I find it unpredictable, but it's not bad. It can be thinned nicely. It does feather out. The terminations are nice on most of it, but I find it unpredictable, yeah. So that brings it down a notch from the really good stuff. Just my honest opinion. Okay? I'm gonna tell it like it is. All right, so I'm gonna make this more narrow, and some people are gonna cry because it's pretty wide as it is, but I'm gonna make it more narrow. We're gonna make a point for an arrow. Has to be more narrow. More narrow for the arrow. Or I can put this aside and make something else out of it. And knap one of the other pieces. But these are all pretty wide, so I could probably get a wider thing out of this. This one I'm not sure. It's got a curve in it. I might actually just put this aside so I don't sacrifice it. Right? Let's try this one. What time is it? 30 minutes. Can I make a bird point out of this flake in 30 minutes? It depends on how solid this is. Let me try this. If this one breaks, I'll just make a bird point out of this. But I'm thinking, since I don't have very much of this and it's pretty rare, I shouldn't just waste the width to make an arrowhead for an arrow. We'll see. What I can probably do is break this in half. Or break it apart so that it's curved anyway, right? So I can't get a big long point that's wide. I'm just going to break this and see. Okay, so there was some issues anyway there. See that weirdness? So I'm going to make a bird point out of one of these. I'm going to start with this larger one. See, I broke it because it had a curve in it. There was no way to preserve the whole length if it has a curve. See how curved that is? So I broke it there. So now these pieces are not as bad as far as the curve goes. Okay? This feels like agate that I get in Texas. This Knife River Flint feels like agate. Yeah. We got some translucency there too. All right, so I don't feel as bad narrowing this one down. Okay. This has got some issues with inconsistency. The more of that area I get rid of, the better. Yeah, because when you have inconsistencies, it kind of messes you up. Once it starts getting really thin. At this stage, it doesn't matter too much. Yeah, as it gets thinner and for notching, inconsistencies can really mess you up. And I'm just rough shaping right now, so I'm not paying attention too much to grinding and making perfect flakes or anything like that. I'm trimming it. Now, there is a danger of messing it up while I'm trimming it because it's kind of careless. But I got lots of experience being careless. Yeah. Okay. The flakes are flying now. I think I was right about the hardest part of all of Flintknapping for most people, because I had a lot more viewers the first half than I do now. For some reason, this doesn't seem to be as interesting, although I find this much harder to do than what I was doing before. Come on. Okay, so we're on the right track. Let's see. I got 25 minutes. Okay. So we gotta fit it into this. And it's gotta look good on this foreshaft. right? Unless we choose another 4 shaft. Choose this one. How about this one? This one's bigger though. Let's do the bigger one. So it's got to fit in there. It's got to look proportional. It can't be a big old blob on the end of it. Okay. Change my glasses. I got these right now. I'm going to use my higher powered magnifier. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Let's see. All right. Oh, now I can see. Man, I can see everything now. Yeah, like that. For the preliminaries, that's good enough. Yep. Yeah. Cool. Cool. Good. Good. Fantastic. Or maybe not. Yes, yes. Yeah, this is the tedious part. I can talk during this part. It's just the percussion that's an issue. Might need some tissue. I think there's an existing crack in there. See that white stuff in there? That's a defect in the stone. It's fine because we're going to make something narrow to fit on an arrow, so that's perfect. I'm going to shave that whole edge down anyways. But yeah, we got some problems. That might be a natural crack. Oh yes, it is. We got a crack in there. See that? So I gotta take down that whole area. I can only see that crack from this angle. Why didn't I see it with the light? Now I can see it. Right there. So it might just go snap right across. In fact, I think I see the remnant of the crack right here. I think it joins up all the way across. We'll see. Anyways. Am I breathing into the microphone yet? I still see that crack. Yeah, I told it was going to be a bird point, but I guarantee it didn't listen to me, Marty. It's just laughing at me. Yeah. It doesn't believe me anyway, no matter what I say. I can see where that crack is. It was a natural crack right through there. We're going to take off a lot. Yes, we are. We're going to do it. We're going to take off that much. Yes, we are. I'll just go bye-bye. Just in case I don't know which side is I'm going to take off, I put a little X just in case. Just like on those viral videos. They always put an X. Yeah. Gets a lot more clicks that way. You've seen those videos where they do repairs and furniture joints and all that kind of stuff, and they have to put an X where they're going to remove wood because they forget. But if they don't put the X, they get a lot of trolls complaining, you didn't put an X on there. You're not professional. You're not a good maker of stuff. Yeah. So yeah, this is just going to be me wasting a bunch of Knapp River. Making it all skinny. I could be doing this with indirect percussion. I don't know why I'm suffering with the pressure flaker. A lot less effort with the indirect percussion. Yeah. Okay, so, and I can start thinning it down too instead of just messing with the edge. I think that crack is mostly gone. There's just a little remnant right there, and I don't think it goes too much further. I think the light would tell me if it's in there. I don't see any more of it. Okay. Oops. Are we able to see what I'm doing? It's just same, pretty much when I do the big points, it's just difference in scale. It's just smaller. Angles are the same. The forces are different to protect the innocent. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can see where it wants to be. It wants to be thick. Of course, when I'm doing the important stuff, it goes blurry. It's too small. The abrader's getting too small. Are we ready to thin for the win? I think I'm ready to thin for the win. It's not thin enough yet. Am I down in the words? No? Can you see what I'm doing? Much easier to do those flakes with percussion. Especially on this stuff. Come on. It feels a lot more like an agate than it does a chert or flint. Which means it's hard and dense. Needs a lot of encouragement. Let's put it that way. Okay. It's making me nervous with the amount of force I'm needing for this. How do they nap it with natural tools? They probably heat treated a bunch of this stuff. Yeah, it heat treats up real nicely. See that? It doesn't grind down easy, which means it's really tough. Come on. Yeah. It's showing its toughness. Oh, look at that. It's step fracturing because it doesn't want to be nice and thin. No. Come on. Yes. Yeah, we might convince it. Not like that. Okay. Gonna need some more convincing. It's not near. We're not even near the notch bottom yet. Not even close. Well, maybe a little bit close. That gets us a little closer. That doesn't. And I hit my finger on that one. Okay. Yes. Oh boy. It's going to be stubborn the whole way. Usually these thinning flakes from the base are a no-brainer. That's why the Clovis did it. Yeah. Come on. See, that's why I wanted to get rid of that whitish, concretey type stuff. Yeah, like that. And we just need to do that on the other side. And we're slowly getting there. Almost there. Just got to thin this side. Yes, yes. Nice, nice. Good, good. I got a lot more thinning to go on the blade too. Let's see. Well, we'll do the hafting area first. Not like that. No. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, I should probably be able to thin the tip down with pressure. I don't know if I was down in the words or what. It doesn't seem like it was in focus. I think it'll reach the bottom of the notch on the foreshaft now. We're almost there. If I put a little more concavity in the base, I think I can run another thinning flake up there. Yeah, besides, it's not sitting in straight. Yeah, I need to thin the base a little bit more. I have to make the surface more convex. Or it's not going to do it. And I got to deepen that concavity to get past that stiff fracture. See, it's got a little stiff fracture right there, or it used to. I'm going to run a flake up in through there. It should work. Yeah, now it should work. There, dead. Another one. Yeah, I did. I think it'll work. Yeah, maybe I want to. Yeah, I'm just gonna put some more pressure flakes into that base, and I think it'll work. It's still in there crooked. See, with a V shape, the arrowhead's got to be perfect. If I had a square bottom, which is rare on these arrow foreshafts, it'd be easier to maneuver like this. But since it's a V shape, the arrowhead's got to be perfect. Yeah. not perfect yet. So I'm going to set up the edge to remove some pressure flakes, and we'll see if that goes well. I can do another percussion flake. It's just risky to do the percussion flakes. Let's see. So it gets thinner and thinner as I do this. It gets riskier and riskier. That might do it. Let's see. I think we're okay. Yeah. I think we have some maneuverability at the top of the notch. Yep. So now it's just a matter of thinning and sharpening and notching. It fits down in the bottom well enough. Yeah. The glue takes care of any gaps. The hot melt glue that is supposed to be used for this, it takes care of the gaps, so it won't be up above a firm resting position. You know what I'm saying? That if there is a gap down inside there, the glue fills that gap. I'm just gonna move it that way. Yeah. It's already looking like an arrowhead. I just need to thin it and notch it and sharpen it. And it should only take me about 15 minutes. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to thin it much further. It doesn't need much more thinning. Just on the tip a little bit to taper it down. Yeah. Do we have translucency, right? Oh yes, we got plenty. Can we see what they are for fossils? No? Glue works, yes it does. I got natural glue and artificial glue. I got all kinds of glue. I'm going to sharpen the tip of the tool and the arrowhead. Yeah. Are we going to do parallel flaking? How badly do you want to see parallel flaking? The more badly you want to see it, the more I'm not going to do it. Yeah. I'm not even kidding. You're supposed to do it yourself. Yeah, we're not part of the poop glue culture. No poop glue here. I was just reading about mice and what diseases they carry and what diseases they leave in their poop. Yeah. Because I've got mice in my stuff out back. I'm storing a bunch of wood for knife handles. I got little short pieces of wood in these bins. And the mice are getting in there, making little nests. I'm going, dang it. I can't win. I'm going to have to figure out something. There was a bucket out there. Well, there's still a bucket there. Empty bucket sitting there, and a little baby mouse was in one of the buckets. And I'm going, what do I do? Do I stomp on them or let them go? I don't know. I just let them go. Yeah. Shouldn't have done it. He's going to come back. He's not going to be thankful. No. He's going to mess up my stuff. Put his nasty droppings all over my wood from my foreshafts and knife handles. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna get one of them fancy mouse traps. It won't catch the chipmunk. I think we have a chipmunk back there. Chipmunks are not that great to have around though either, because they carry the Lyme disease. Yeah, chipmunks can have deer ticks on them too. I was amazed. Such a little animal can have those big old ticks. Because deer ticks get pretty big when in the adult size. I've never seen a chipmunk with a deer tick on it though. But I guess there's a first for everything. My skunks will eat the mice? Well, I don't think so, because there's mice. I've seen them burrow in the back too. I can see them kicking out dirt from the little burrows. We have a hill. I have a hill in the backyard. There's a bunch of little burrows, and I don't know if it's rats or mice, but I went up there a couple days ago, and there's a little creature kicking some dirt out. I said, that's got to be a mouse, because I haven't seen rats this year. But maybe it is a rat. I don't know. Are we seeing the progress? I'm kind of just shaping the edge for the thinning. I'm not thinning it yet. I'm just kind of shaping the edge. Maybe I did run a couple flakes that could qualify as thinning, but I'm trying to get the edge nice and straight and ready. Okay. I got some weirdness going on this side. Did I just hear some thunder? Dang. I gotta sharpen this up. I could use my other tool. Hold on. Yeah, let's use this little spatula tool. Let's try it out. It only removes little bitty flakes, so maybe it'll work. No. I'm gonna sharpen this even. The edge has to be quite sharp for something this small. Quite sharp for Flintknapping, not for cutting or anything, but it's got to, the edge of this has to be thin, very thin. And I'm going to be pressing off from the flat downward. Just remove little flakes like that. See that? That way I don't break the tip off. Yes. It doesn't have much contact with the edge, so it doesn't really pull a lot. Which is handy for not breaking off the tip. Not breaking off the tip. Yeah, so it doesn't break off the tip. I'm going to have to go with the copper for the sticker areas, because it's bending the steel. There it goes. Can we see? Or are we in the words? Yeah, little flakes. There is thunder outside. So how do I get it thinner than that? With a lot of luck. Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to use. I'm gonna have to use the copper. Yep. The steel is good for the very tip, just little bitty flakes off the very tip. But to get it thinned down, I'm gonna need to use something a little bit bigger. See, I want this to be thinner than this. Right now, it's like it's made from a slab. Can't have that. Okay, this is the hardest part for me in all of the thinning is thinning the tip. I think I have a step fracture near the tip. Yeah, I got a step fracture there. Let's see. Yeah, okay. All right, now we can go down the line, right? Yeah, I think so. It's just the very tip that's really hard. You know, once I get past that part, the rest of it's not too bad. Hopefully. This is not a, well, it might be a combination of step fracture and a little bit of concrete right there. So what I'm trying to do is get it nice and tapered. So the surface has to be smooth in order for it to look tapered. So thin and smooth at the same time is, it's not as easy as it might look. Starting to get there. No. Okay. Yeah. It tapered it, but it took off a lot of edge. Okay. All right, I'll stop messing with it. Okay. All right, that's good enough for the edge. There's a lot of little step fractures and stuff, right? But I think that's going to be unavoidable at this scale. Yeah, if I push too hard to get longer flakes, I'm just going to snap it. So I'm going to put notches in. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Low notches. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to go further unless I expand those notches. Or expand this notch. It's already stalled out. Yeah. Pretty much stalled out for that. I would have to thin it down more. So I'm just going to leave it. We're going to move on. Okay. I thought it was going to go easier if I widen out this second notch, but no. Yeah. It's not, it didn't go easier until I really widened it out. Yeah, even if I go thinner to get more depth on the notches, what'll happen is it'll still blow out the sides. Yeah, even if I'm thinner, I would probably be able to go. I would probably be able to go deeper into those notches, but not more narrow, even if it was thinner. I got some crushing at the bottom. Yeah. And some metal marks. I'm just trying to thin it down on the edges a little bit. Oh, not like that. Yeah, I'll stop messing with it. To get those notches deeper, I would have to make it thinner, yeah. Put in a few serrations. Sorry for all this little step fracturings. Little bitty serrations on the side. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, I think that's it. Can I pop those out? Let's see. Sometimes you can pop those out. But on tough material, no. All I'm going to do is just put metal marks in it. Oh, there it goes. I loosened it. Come on. It's hooking onto it, it's just not coming off. How about that? No. Okay. Good enough. Does this match anything in North Dakota? As far as point style? Northern Plains side notch? I don't know. Yeah, it fits. Okay. Yeah, they don't let loose. Okay, those little step fractures, it's hard to pick them out without leaving metal marks. I mean, you could take another flake and kind of crunch them. Yeah, you could take a flake of Knife River flint and then do this. Sometimes it works. Sometimes. You just kind of crunch into there. It's not working. Yeah. All right. It's okay. That's it for tonight, right? 2 hours, 35 minutes is not too bad. Sometimes I've gone almost 3 hours. Yes. Anyways, I wanted to finish this one. Yeah. What's the size of it? Let's measure it. It took just as long to make this as it does a big point. We're going to weigh it and measure it. So this one is 1 7/8 inches by 11/16, almost 3/4, something like that. Yeah, that's the size of a real arrowhead, a real arrow point. Now let's see how much it weighs. Come on. That's grains. Are we in the words? 50, exactly. 50 grains. 49.5, 49%. Yeah, that's how much they weigh. And the Knife River is kind of dense. So it's a little bit heavier than the average stone. Heavier than the average stone. So it's a little bit heavier for the stones of this size or arrowheads of this size. Okay. AM Outdoors, thank you for another great lesson. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yep. Good night, everybody. Do you know what it is? Something or other? Let's see. I don't know. We can look it up really fast. In the Oracle, the Oracle will tell us. Yeah. NP is Northern Plains. We look in the index in the front of this section. Where's the arrowheads? Do they have a separate for arrow points? Corner notched forms. So this is Northern High Plains. Let's see if that includes North Dakota. Yeah, part of North Dakota. It can also be the North Central. So let's look at NC. So I didn't see very many arrowheads in the front index. This is North Central. See, sometimes they have a separate section. Oh yeah, here we go. On arrow points. Arrow points. Okay, these are Cahokia, which is further south. I guess it could be considered a Washita. Okay, one of these. Similar to one of those. What else? Collins. No, Collins doesn't look like this though. Harrell. Harrell's got a notch in the base. Let's look at Washita and see. I know the Washita was very popular in the plains. All right, here, yeah. Let's see. Midwestern states, small size, thin, triangular side notch arrow point with a concave base. Basal area usually large in proportion to the blade size. Okay. So mine's a little bit longer than these. These are actual size of the real ones. But yeah, it can be considered a Washita. Side notch. But I guess the notches are supposed to be up higher. Mine are too low. Yeah. Oh well. So even with this little bitty size, it's still bigger than the real ones. Yeah. Okay. But at least it fits into the arrow foreshaft. Okay, that's it. I'm going to say goodnight. I'm going to peruse the comment section one more time, and then I'll say goodnight. It fits in there, okay. Yeah. What is that? Good night, good night. My YouTube is catching up, says Eric Kitty. Wish you stone nappy dreams. Yeah. Let's make an arrow and hunt something. Yeah. What else? Perfect looks artificial. I like the imperfections. Oh, good. Good, good. Mm-hmm. Jeff Jin says it looks bold, flaky, and great symmetry. Cool. It's a nice tough stone that produces a sharp edge, very sharp edge. The notching tool is this particular nail, yeah, I think it is a 20 penny. I think so. I don't know. It's not one of those. Yeah, I don't have any spares, so I can't tell you. It's probably a 20 penny, yeah. Or one size under. I don't have the originals. Okay, I don't have a batch. I don't know where my box of nails went. The Feathered Frontiersman, why do I struggle with asymmetrical points? I know there are plenty of artifact examples in your books. What does it say about the napper and technique? Okay, so you have A and then symmetrical. Does that mean you have struggle with symmetrical, or you struggle with asymmetrical? What does it say about the napper technique? If you struggle to make them symmetrical, it's okay, because they don't have symmetry in the archaeological record very often. It's like, if it's perfectly symmetrical, that's an anomaly. Like 99% of the artifacts are not symmetrical. By our standards, anyway. By modern standards, 99% of the artifacts are not symmetrical. I don't know what the stone is, but I want some. It's Knife River Flint. You missed the front. You missed the first part of the live stream. It's KRF. But you can get agate like this in Texas. It reminds me of a Texas agate. But yeah, for those of you who don't know what I'm saying, I'll write it down. KRF. Does that make sense? No? Knife River Flint. From North Dakota. But there's Texas agates that look almost identical to this. Except for the color. It's hard to get that nice color. But some of the gravel that we have, some of the bull gravel we have in Texas is that color. Is that it for questions? Richard McMahon, or McCann, Richard McCann, I hadn't seen you before. Yes, I doubt I could nap with my arthritis, but I would be ready to break out a diamond grinding wheel about 100 grit. Yeah. All right, Mike Mason, I wanted to say thank you, Patrick and crew. I've been busy tonight. You're welcome. Joshua Dean says amazing to watch. Cool. All right, we'll see you tomorrow night. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Natural Tools Saturday. There will be a live stream. Yeah. There's no fireworks, so I will be here. I'll be doing the live stream. Natural Tools on Saturday and Sunday. I gotta get my natural tools ready. They've been in the house all week, so they should be dry enough. It's extremely humid right now at this time of year here. I was having difficulty napping with my natural tools last Sunday. But they've been in the house the whole time, so hopefully they've dried out. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. See you tomorrow. Good night. Bye-bye.